Good evening and welcome to Divemaster and Instructor Institute. How is everyone doing?
Well,
Good,
Good.
good. So on this call, we have Skylar, who is now officially a dive master. So, yay, Skylar. Okay. And yeah, Josh and Erica are closer. Andrea's closer. Monica is officially a dive master. Um, so we are moving along. It's good. So thank you all for your hard work lately. And I did send an email and wanted to check in with people to see who might be available to help teach. Tomorrow we have pool sessions as well coming up. Um, and we'll schedule some checkout dives too. So let me know first who is available tomorrow to help teach. Anyone?
I have something going off tomorrow. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Anyone? Just me? I'm
what
teaching alone.
what time?
It's 8
7:30,
to 8 to 10:30.
8 to 10. Can I give you answer in the morning?
You can.
Okay.
Ronnie, are you available? Ronnie?
Yeah,
You,
what's up?
you're available to help teach tomorrow evening?
Yeah, yeah.
You sure? Okay. All right. So, and yeah, I've got pool sessions on November 1st and November 4th. And we have a search on November 3rd. So we need people to help with the search if anyone is available then as well. Hey, Monica, congratulations on earning your Dive Master certification.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I know.
This has
So
been
I
a
was just
personal,
saying how hard everybody worked, and yeah, congratulations.
thanks. Yeah, it's been kind of a personal dream for a long
Oh,
time. So it's nice to have accomplished that goal.
I love helping people achieve their dreams.
Well, thank you so much. So, but this is just the beginning.
It is just the beginning.
Yeah.
I love it. So, yeah, and really the dive master is the hardest hurdle to leap over. After that, if you want to continue, it's actually easier to earn your assistant instructor and instructor. So
Oh, really?
it really it's less time.
hmm
And there are less requirements. It's more teaching. So
hmm
speaking of teaching, I just asked if anyone's available to help teach tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right. And then is anyone here available to help with the search and recovery efforts on the 3rd, Monday the 3rd in South Georgia?
Yeah, I can't,
Okay.
unfortunately. It's just too hard
Yeah.
work-wise.
All right. Well, I will reach out to some people we haven't seen in a while and see if they can help us. So So I wanted to have this session tonight for a couple of reasons. One is to discuss the new standards that came as a result of what happened in the incident in Texas. Who has not heard about what happened in Texas with the 12-year-old girl? Anyone? Everyone knows? Just to summarize, uh, the girl was on a checkout dive with 8 total students and two, I think two instructors, or possibly one instructor and a dive master. And the instructor in charge was also a assistant chief deputy with the county sheriff's office in the area. Um, the 12-year-old student on their descent, apparently visibility was really, really bad. And my understanding is she was buddied with another child, and the on the descent, they were at supposedly at like 15 feet or something, and somehow she got separated from the group, ended up at 43 feet approximately when her body was found. And it was not found by the instructor. The instructor, after they realized there was a separation of this student, they left the water completely and did not search for her, which is crazy. One of the people whose team actually found her said that the instructor was bone dry and didn't really seem concerned that the 12-year-old was missing. Again, we're hearing secondhand. I don't know what's true, but uh, it definitely seems like there was not a sense of urgency to find the missing girl, which is crazy to me. The industry's kind of reeling from this. I don't know who the certifying agency was. Do you guys know? It might have been Nowie. I'm not 100% sure, but it might have been Nowie. It was Nowie or Patty. Um,
I have not heard, but there was a dive master involved.
Yeah, I think there was one instructor and one dive master, and the computers were unavailable. Probably because he was affiliated with the sheriff's office there, they didn't really do a thorough investigation. They didn't look at all the things they should have looked at to determine what went wrong.
I just read a report that they are now reopening this case. They had closed it
Yeah,
really
it's
quick.
crazy.
They
And everybody was in an uproar.
yeah.
Now, initially, the instructor was permanently suspended from the dive site, but hearing that the instructor actually resigned yesterday, um, that he resigned. And I don't know if he resigned from the sheriff's department or if he resigned um, from teaching scuba.
From the sheriff's department.
Oh, interesting.
Ton,
And
there's a ton of fishy stuff about this whole thing.
it is fishy. It's very fishy, very fishy. Uh, and it was a certification class. And they didn't, so the county sheriff's office never retrieved or analyzed the dive computer. So many things were off about this. Um, when all this happened about 6 days ago, a video was revealed from several years ago showing people talking about the same dive shop. And I don't know if you've seen that video, but in it, they were joking about how many people they could kill under their insurance. And the name of the shop is Scuba Toys in Texas. So they were joking about how many people they could kill. Hmm. Um,
The
and
people who were in the shop were joking about
the
that.
people with the dive shop were joking about how many people they could kill. Somebody observed and actually recorded those statements and sent it to uh, Nowie, and it ended up in at. And now I don't know if they're still Nowie or if they're Patty now. They might be Patty now, but they were Nowie many years ago. And Jim Gunderson, the head of SEI, was high ranking in Nowie at the time. He was the one who got the video. He then escalated it to the head of Nowie. And the head of Nowie said there was nothing actionable they could do about it because they were joking about how many people they could kill. So nothing was done. So Jim right away took to uh, our regional managers group and said, if anyone says anything about me, please say no comment, or I'll actually tell you what exactly he said. Okay. So that I don't misinterpret. All right.
So it says it was NAUI certification.
What's that?
It was a NAUI certification course.
The current one?
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
death, the Texas
Okay.
death.
Okay. So, um, let's see here. Yeah. I missed where it was. Is somebody's audio on? You guys hear some audio?
Sound is coming. Oh, there we go.
Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh, there's so many. All right, it says my name was mentioned in a news article covering the child fatality in Texas. Our official reply, if we are asked, is either no comment or Jim did the best he could at the time and is doing the right thing now, or just refer them directly to me. So he, was very concerned that his name was mentioned, and he immediately called the executive team together with SEI, and they revised the standards. So they revised our open water standards, and I wanted to talk with you about the revisions in case you haven't seen it. Um, so it's so in red are the things that they say are changed, but I thought the minimum coverage already was $1 million. So that's not anything new. What is new, and this affects all of us when we're doing checkout dives, what is new are the ratios. So horizontal visibility shall not be less than 50 feet. 50 feet. If horizontal visibility is less than 50 feet, the instructor to student ratios are to be halved. So this means if we're going on a dive boat in Panama City and the visibility is less than 50 feet, we have to tell people that we can only take half of them diving. So that's a big change. So it shall also have an area of sufficient size where all students can stand comfortably with their head above water. Okay, this isn't the confined water training. My apologies. This is for a swimming pool or a body of water with pool-like conditions. Okay, so strike that about the checkout dives. That does apply later, but I think it's 30 feet instead of 50. So in the pool, it needs to be crystal clear too. And I'll tell you, it's not always 50 feet in the pool. And the area of sufficient size, that's fine. Disturbance of bottom composition doesn't compromise visibility. And then
How does that imply though? Like, because even when you go to the bottom of your pool, I know in your shallow end you can stand up, but in the deep
it
end,
doesn't, if you have a shallow end where people can stand, then it's
that's
okay.
okay.
If junior divers aged 12 to 14 are present, each junior diver counts as 2 students for calculating ratios. So this impacts us, especially when we're working with scouts. And, so when we have younger people, we can't have our old ratios of students in the pool. So this really affects us when we're working with younger people. Okay. No more than 4 junior divers are allowed in each confined water session per instructor. So if we have 2 instructors, we could have 8 junior divers. It says if there are more than 2 junior divers in a session, a qualified assistant shall be used in addition to the instructor. So I take that as if there's 3, then you need to have a dive master as well as an instructor or an assistant instructor. It needs to be somebody who's a dive master or above if there's 3 kids in a session. Each student shall be in direct supervision of the instructor or qualified assistant at all times while in or under the water. We already do that. So for confined water training ratios, you are allowed to have, for one instructor, you can have 8 students. It used to be 10. For 9 to 12 students, you need to have one instructor and one qualified assistant. We never get bigger than that. So I'm not going to go over that. Let me continue with the other changes. And this does apply to the checkout dives in Panama City. One other thing we have to do with underwater problem solving, and in addition to cramp releases and power inflator malfunction, is we need to loosen the cylinder strap, simulate adjustment of the cylinder, and resecure the strap. So that's new. And then here we go. An
So
open,
is
go ahead.
that, would that be a buddy doing it or the
It
student
could be
doing
the
it on
buddy
their
doing it.
on their own gear?
It could be the buddy doing it. So finish? Okay, hang on just a second. Hang on just a second. Here you go. Thank you. Okay. So the next thing is open water training ratios for open water. And here we go. Horizontal visibility must be at least 30 feet. If it's less than 30 feet, you need to half your ratio. So this would apply if we are diving in Panama City, for example, or even a spring that's not perfect conditions. We have to take our numbers and split them in half. If horizontal visibility is less than 10 feet, the instructor ratio shall be 2 to 1. We're not ever going to dive in less than 10 feet of visibility. So that's not necessary to talk about. Adding a qualified assistant is encouraged but not required if horizontal visibility is less than 10 feet. So if it's less than 30 feet, you need to half it. If there are current, surge, or other water movement concerns, a horizontal line shall be used to maintain relative position of the students. That's new. If junior divers are included, each junior diver counts as 2 students for calculation of ratios. That's also new. So again, if we have some scouts going, this impacts how we're going to be able to dive with them. No more than 2 junior divers in an open water dive session per instructor, even with qualified assistants. Okay. So we could have, 5 leaders and 3 students, and we wouldn't be allowed to have them if they were 14 or younger. If junior divers are in an open water session, a qualified assistant shall also be used in addition to the instructor, unless this junior student is 1-to-1 with the instructor ratio. So this means that if what I take that is if I take students, 2 students diving in Panama City or anywhere, and they're 12 to 14, I must have an extra person with me who is a dive master or higher. That's how I take that. Each student shall be in direct supervision of the instructor, and that we already do. So the ratios table is 6-to-1, and if you have 7-to-8, it's 8-to-2. So that appears to be the same. Let's see if there's anything else that changed. Okay. That is it. So the biggest things I think for us are going to be on our checkout dives. If we don't have perfect conditions, we've got to half the ratios. And if we have kids, which a lot of us do, Victor, with 4-H camp, this affects you too. Where I was talking about scouts, this is a whole new level of challenging when we're talking about checkout dives. So, Victor, I'm not sure when you joined us, And if you heard the beginning of the discussion, we were talking about the case in Texas and the result of the changes to the standards because of what happened. Um,
No, I've been in the session maybe 5 to 7 minutes.
okay.
But yeah, I'm very aware of the case. I've been following
Yeah.
on the media what's
So,
going
and
on.
you've taken a look at all the standards changes, right?
Yeah, I was trying to follow up what you were saying, but
So let me just kind of go over, I think, what the most important things to keep in mind are. If horizontal visibility is less than 30 feet or 9 meters, then the student ratios need to be halved. So in other words, we used to be able, if you're an instructor, you could take 6 students diving, but if it's not perfect conditions with at least 30 feet of visibility, you now can only take 3 students. If the horizontal visibility is less than 10 feet, then the instructor ratios are 2 to 1. And if there is current surge or other water movement concerns, a horizontal line needs to be used to maintain position of the students. If junior divers are included, each junior diver counts as 2 students for calculation of ratios. No more than 2 junior divers in an open water dive session per instructor, even with qualified assistance. So this means if if you have people in 4-H or scouts or anyone, if you have 3 students who are 14 years or younger in age, that you can't do it.
You would
can't.
need, but two instructors would be make it work, right?
2 instructors would make it work if you separated the groups so that each one was responsible for others, right?
Okay.
Can you
If
explain the horizontal line if there's a current? What do they mean like that? A physical rope?
a physical
Or
rope, a physical rope, yeah. I mean, we would use this on a boat anyway. We would have a no swim line, but
yeah, but the way it sounded to me is if you're going to go dive, you have to have them on that rope the whole dive, not just a line at the end of the boat.
yeah, that's so current surge or other water movement concerns, a horizontal line shall be used to maintain. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me too. I don't really know. That's going to be very strange if we're diving in the ocean and we're like, okay, everybody, you
but
need
I
to grab
guess
the
that
line.
refers to safety stop or to if you're practicing a specific skill. But in open water, you will go. It's not clear.
I'll ask about that. To me, you're right, Bill. It does sound like when you're diving, if there's current surge or other water movement concerns, and maybe that's the operative word is concerns. If it's not concerning, if it's a slight current, then maybe you don't need to. I'll ask about that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is that up to the instructor discretion on if it's
It would
a
be
concern
really,
or
yeah,
if,
I'm going to ask about that. To me, that would be very, very strange to have a horizontal line when diving, especially if we're training people to actually be divers. In the real world, they're not going to have a horizontal line to hang on to. And then it becomes, well, you've got to have 2 people to hold the line on either end. So it's not like it would just be very strange.
I would say if they have like in a specific speed of the current or a specific height of the surge,
Yeah.
then just to say you need to cancel because it doesn't make it discretional, as Kyler just mentioned. Because for me, if I go in the ocean and it's 2 feet high seas or 3 feet or even 5 feet seas, I'm good with diving. So in my discretion, I would say like, no, it's safe. We can go in the water.
Right.
exactly.
But maybe for other people, it's like, no, no,
Hmm.
anything over 2 is just it's too much. So it creates that discretion. They said, well, it was 5 foot seas, but that's not a problem. But other people can say, no, yeah, it is a problem. So who's right? You
Right.
know,
And
when you leave
also,
it,
5 foot seas might not have any current underneath
It's
at the
true.
bottom.
That's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, if you have 3 meters per second speed current, yeah, cancel. If you have 4 feet or 3 feet or above seas, cancel. So you just don't leave it open to discretion. It's just like under these conditions, you don't dive.
Exactly.
Just like
Hmm.
Okay, I'm
I'm
typing.
just
Yeah.
curious, do you know roughly what the ratios were for NAUI? Like how much better were the SEI ratios prior to all this? Then
Uh,
since NAUI was the one involved, that's why I
I
just said
mean, I always thought that NAUI had very similar standards to SEI, that it had good standards.
Mhm.
Um, so I personally think that this is being reactive based on an instructor who did everything you're not supposed to do,
Yeah. Mm.
you know? And the moment that the student became separated, I mean, they should have known immediately. And when they did, they had plenty of time to go down and find her.
Yeah.
Even if she had drowned, they could have gotten her out of the water. They could have saved her.
Yeah, it's
Could
like
have-
what Tech said the other night. It's not just one mistake that causes these incidences. It's a cascading effect, and at so many points they could have done something different.
Yeah. So there, I got a response. It's the discretion of the instructor. Can you control your students? Okay. So there's no measurements. And the response was it's all because of the 12-year-old in Texas.
But my question still stands. If you decide that
It just don't
it's
dive.
safe to dive, but there's enough current, you need a rope. You have to tie. I mean, how do you connect the students to this rope? And how? I mean,
They would have to hang on to the rope. I find this kind of
that's the
bizarre. To me, I take this as if it's you're like my students can handle this level of current. We thankfully don't live in a place with huge current problems, but if you decide as an instructor that it's okay for your students, it's not going to be, terrible for them. You're going to be able to control them, that you don't need to have a rope. And if you do think that you can't control them, then maybe you shouldn't dive instead of bringing a rope.
yeah.
Agreed.
Every spring you have to have a rope.
What's that, Ronnie?
It almost sounds like every spring you would have to have a horizontal
Yeah, I mean
line.
that would be, and again, if it's only if the instructor thinks that they can't control their students in those conditions. Okay, so let me continue with if junior divers are included, each junior diver counts as two students for calculation of ratios. No more than two junior divers in an open water session per instructor, even with qualified assistants. If junior divers are in an open water session, a qualified assistant shall also be used, unless the junior student is 1-to-1. So that to me sounds like if you have two junior divers, you must always have a dive master or higher with you if you're an instructor. So if you have two 14-year-olds, which I've had before, and they were great, I couldn't just dive off their private boat like I have in the past. I'd have to have a dive master with me. Isn't that what you take it as?
Yep, yep. That's how I interpret it.
Okay. Um, hmm. So the only other thing, in terms of equipment we talked about, Victor, is we need to loosen the strap, simulate adjustment of the cylinder, and resecure the strap. So we'll get buddies to do that with each other in the pool session. And then the pool session ratios have also changed. So in the pool, junior divers will count as two students for calculating ratios. And there is no more than four junior divers allowed in a pool session per instructor.
How
So you,
many?
hmm?
How many?
Four per instructor in the pool.
Just junior,
Just junior, just junior.
under 14. Okay.
Yes, 14 and under.
Mhm.
14 and under. So 12 to 14 years old. If there are more than two junior divers in a session, you need to always have. So if you had three kids who were 14 years old, you couldn't have a pool session with them. You'd have to have at least one other dive master hire with you.
Yeah, that definitely complicates the summer camp.
It really does. It complicates a lot of things. Things we do with scouts, and we work a lot with kids. This is going to be, it's going to be really challenging.
I
Uh,
was gonna ask you if there was something that you want, because I have to give information on Tuesday, and so I'll need to chat with you about if we need to change things for, I don't know how many are 14, but
yeah,
our
this is
fresh,
what I'm talking about. Like we have 19 kids, right? 19 who were signed up.
sorry, 15. So there were 20 who wanted to do it. They put 15. They said that there was five who they could potentially put on there as well, but I was like, hold it at 15 for right now, and we'll see where we go with it.
Okay. Josh just typed, and I told him not to type and drive. Uh, the Texas incident is an example of cascade of errors. And yeah, definitely. And that's what, when we had Tech Clark on, that's exactly what he was talking about. And this was before this incident. He was talking about this kind of thing, you know. So to me, we're reacting um, in a big way for safety. And
Do you know are other agencies reacting at the moment? Have
I
you
have
heard?
I haven't heard that others are, but I was in Cleveland working, and so I might have missed something the last couple of days. I haven't, has anyone heard anything?
I'm going to receive anything from IDEA. I'm an instructor with IDEA as well,
Yeah.
and HSA. Well, you are also HSSA.
Mhm.
And I haven't received any formal communication on change in the standards, but maybe in DEMA there will be a
Yeah.
discussion as well.
Tell me, what ideas ratios are. Are they the same?
Hmm. Yeah.
But not counting two kids as one, right? I mean, not counting one kid as two. They didn't
For
have that
junior
ratio
divers,
for junior divers.
yeah, it's the same.
It's the same as before or the same as now.
That's now two counts as one.
Okay. Oh, well, any other thoughts on this?
Yeah. Um,
I think it's gonna, even though you probably know when somebody does a course, sort of their age and birth date, it's probably something you also need to double check on before they start to make sure the ratios are met.
Yeah, I think Ronnie was going to say something too.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how this wouldn't affect finances and like payment structure. Because if you can only take, I mean, it's, I guess, I don't know. In some ways, it's less of a big deal for us, and also a bigger deal for us, depending on the situation. Because taking up that many slots,
Exactly.
a lot of lost money. I
It is
mean,
going to lose.
not
Yeah, for
trying to
sure.
make little as is, like, and now you're requiring other people to be there. We all volunteer, but if you're in a
Right.
place where it's not volunteer, now you got to pay for that.
Right. Right.
So I think there's just a lot of cascades that they're not really fully understanding.
I mean, so then it's like, well, do we need to increase the price of the class again?
If it's a junior, it sounds like you have to.
Mm.
And then you're doing discrimination or like, everyone
Yeah,
always.
I'm just thinking, do we need to increase the price of open water classes already? Insurance rates have gone up, equipment repairs have gone up. Parts have gone up. Everything's more expensive. Everything costs a lot more money now than it did, even a year ago,
Well,
right?
one thing we should look at, I know we're deep in SEI, but if none of the other certification companies are going to these standards, it may be worth going to another certification that does a good job. I'm not saying
Yeah.
pass,
Yeah.
but find somebody else, SSI or something
SSI or something. I
that,
mean,
you
I
know,
think it's worth exploring. I do. Especially for all the camps and stuff that we do.
the other thing I would, if at all possible, if you have multiple junior divers, don't put two 12 year olds together unless
Right.
you absolutely have to. That to me, that's
Well, now in the pool, we like to do that because
right.
they're best friends and
Yeah,
stuff,
in the
They don't
pool,
want to
that's
be buddied with their moms or
yeah,
whatever,
I know, but that's in the pool. But if you go into open water,
Yeah.
you're putting two 12 year olds kind of looking out after each other. My thing is, why didn't the 12 year old that was a buddy, where was he when they all came up? Why wasn't he screaming?
I
I would
think
have been,
they had to know the parents were there. I think they had to know immediately that she was missing.
yeah, but if I mean that's what I'm saying. If they knew immediately that they were missing, and the dive buddy was saying, "Where's my buddy? Where's my buddy?" How
Well, I think the
where was
parents
the
were
search?
saying it too. I don't understand why there wasn't more urgency when they realized that she was missing. I know they had to realize when they came to the surface that she wasn't there. The parents were there. They
Yeah,
were part of the course. So, yeah, I don't fully understand it. I'd like to hear more from, the family who was there and what actually happened, but perhaps the instructor said, "Don't worry about it." I don't know. I mean, I can't even imagine what happened.
but anyway,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If it happened to us, I'd freak out if, if the 12-year-old was missing, I'd be like, one of us needs to immediately go back down and do a search. And again,
everybody but the 12 year old would have been back in the water. I'm sorry.
right, right. Even if, she had drowned, there's about 7 minutes from the time she had drowned to the time you can save her life.
And if it's colder water in the spring, that probably goes up a little bit.
Yeah, but either way, there was no urgency. They
Yeah,
left the water, and I don't understand that at all. I
yeah.
really don't. And the fact that the instructor in charge never actually took part in the search. It was someone else who happened upon what was going on and said, "Well, why isn't anyone looking? Who's in charge?"
Yeah, it was another instructor.
That's right, another instructor completely. And when he realized that nobody was doing anything, he sent his people in to search, and they found her. But it was too late by then.
It's crazy. Anyway, just a thought for another.
No, that's not a bad thought, Bill, is especially for all the kids we certify, it's just really not a bad thought to cross certify in another agency. Victor's with two agencies who do open water. It's not a bad idea. I did, for those of you who asked for business cards, I did have those printed and or they're in the process of being printed. And for those of you who have HSA Dive Buddy certifications but don't have a certification number, I have been going back and forth for, gosh, the longest time with the head of HSA. There's been a problem with the website. They're transitioning to a new one. I can't tell you how many dozens of times I have tried without success to get you in the system. You are official, but I just went ahead and put HSA Dive Buddy on it without the number. I think that's just fine, you know, until he gets it resolved, which he keeps promising me he's going to do. But I've spent a lot of time and energy on that website. It's now hsascuba.org instead of .com. If you go to .com, it just shows up as nothing. It was hacked. So,
Hmm.
Once they provide, if they do provide numbers, is that something where they provided cards before, like
Oh
ID?
yeah, no, once we get everyone in the system, you'll have a card.
Okay.
You'll have so a lot of agencies are not doing physical cards anymore. Divers Alert
Mhm.
Network is one of them. And I like that Scuba Educators International still has them, and so does HSA. So you will have a physical card once. But I'm telling you, I've been the most persistent but patient person in the world with this process. Like I really want to, make you official.
So I just went to hsa.org.
HSAscuba.org.
Scuba Dub. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. It looks like a functional website, but I assure you the database is not functional yet. So again, it's in the process. I'll keep trying. So,
Thank you.
oh, thank you. If anyone asks, you are HSA Dive Buddy certified. The head of the agency is fully aware of the problems with the system, and it's okay. We'll get it worked out. Ah, so any other thoughts on this? I don't want to keep people on too long tonight. I've had a long day of travel and a really busy few days. So, any other thoughts on this and Bill's idea of maybe pursuing SSI or another agency, even possibly NAUI? I mean, I really have only heard great things about NAUI. There can be bad instructors in any agency. This was an example, I think, of an instructor who, because of his authority with the sheriff's office, took some liberties that cost someone their life.
I wanted to ask if like there's, I mean, is there any code of ethics that they have to abide by as,
Yeah.
are they
There
not?
is a code of ethics with every agency, but there's no governing board. There's no scuba police per se.
Okay, so that's why they can't like get in trouble for what the video that they made.
Right, because the video, they said they were joking, whatever. That dive shop, though, had a terrible history. And I do want to say there were 5 fatalities in that dive shop.
Wow.
And so I think, the operative word is complacency with them. Um, they pushed the limits and they killed people as a result.
Was it that instructor in the video? Or was
No,
it
it
other?
was, I don't think so. I think it was someone else.
Mm. And this was it in a spring or was it it was
Was
in
a lake.
a lake? Okay.
A lake with very bad visibility.
Mm.
And they were told to descend on a line. This is where it's like, well, the instructor said they were told to descend on a line, but my understanding is the people who were there said they were not told to descend on a line.
Hmm.
I mean, it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, and I think of other instructors who did terrible things with their students, like overweighting that dry suit diver who was killed, overweighting her and putting her in a dry suit and she died. From my perspective, it's really about not being safe, about not caring enough about safety to do the right thing.
So I guess my overall suggestion would be, give it some time. Like there are these new standards, and we have to live with them for the next little while. But maybe it is a knee-jerk reaction, and they'll modify them again in another month or two when they
I
sort of.
doubt it, Monica. I really doubt it. I think once you react in this way, and if you've seen on social media, they're really like, oh,
Mhm.
look at what we did. They're not going to go back.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just not.
It is surprising that they like with assumably they had all of this information when they reacted this way.
it was very specific that this was in reaction to that incident. And
Hmm.
I believe that it was, I believe that it was especially personal for Jim because his name was mentioned in in the news report about the people joking at on the video about killing people.
Hmm.
But it was an SCI instructor involved in this?
No,
Okay.
was not an SEI instructor
Yeah,
involved.
yeah, exactly. I didn't hear anything, so I
Yeah.
just got confused.
It,
Yeah, I
it,
think the only discussion that will take place is the impact, as Ronnie was saying, the impact this will have in the agency in order to be cost competitive, perhaps with other agencies that don't, or that don't change their standards in order to be too tight. I feel is I understand. I totally understand the reason behind based on safety. I totally agree with it. I go 100% with it. But also, it's important to understand that this is going to definitely have an impact on the cost of of the services that we provide, and if we need to have limit the number of students, and on top of that have another leadership member diving with us as an instructor, then definitely you need to plan in order to cover those expenses.
Yeah. And like Ronnie said, it can't be discriminatory. You can't say,
Yeah, exactly.
we're going to charge more because you're a junior open water diver. You can't do that.
Hmm.
But it is a different certification, so you could, just like you charge a different amount for advanced. I mean,
Advanced is a whole different class.
I know, but in some senses, junior is now too because of the requirements needed.
Hmm. I don't know. What's everyone think about that? That's a good
Thing
point.
is that in reality, it's an open water. The term junior is just to refer to the age group, but it has basically they are completing exactly the same training, the same
Yeah,
standards, the same skills, the same number of pool sessions and checkout dive. They go through the same lectures, so it's exactly the same syllabus basically.
Yeah, but if
So
it requires different ratios, it's a different, it's
Yeah.
it's same like with Girl Scouts. With the younger girls, with the younger troops, we have to have very different ratios than the older troops. So we actually, when our troop expanded, when we were young, we had to bring extra leaders on board in order to make things happen. And this was sort of it's just the way it was.
I think that'd be a good question for a lawyer within SEI.
Well, I think this would be a great question for Josh, but he is driving and he got booted off. So I'm actually going to ask him right now. I'm going to text him. Okay.
that's and why they have different price structures in preschools, though, is because of the ratios, like in the amount of supervision that they have to have per child. And so, and it's unfortunate that you would have to charge more that way, but then if you're having to charge more for everyone, it's like the concern of being able to be competitive with other agencies who have offerings that don't have to have those ratios and can offer classes at, a lower cost is, I don't know, that's a tricky one. That's tough.
Yeah. I'm going to ask him. He always has good insights about this kind of stuff. You guys keep talking while I'm typing here.
I like Bill's idea of potentially looking at a different agency for certification for that age group.
Yeah.
Question is, we got to make sure that not all agencies are going to that. And I honestly, I don't think they will because I know SEI was one of the last few that lowered their junior. Actually, I don't think junior only goes to 12 at SEI, right?
It's 12 to 14, ages
Yeah.
12 to 14.
So,
In
so
Patty,
Patty
it's
does
10 to
10.
14.
So
Yeah. Patty does 10-year-olds.
it's up to I would assume it's up to the agency
Yeah,
what
I can tell
number.
you that I think it's not a bad idea to look at other agencies, but it will not be Patty for me.
Yeah, I'm
Under, I will not bow to the Walmart of scuba. I just won't.
Mhm.
But the Dema show might be a good opportunity too to talk to some of these other agencies about what reactive steps they're taking, if any. And kind of shop around. But I have heard great things about SSI and NOWI, and I think they're real possibilities, especially for all the kids that we teach. But then I'd want to see their materials and,
yeah.
yeah,
So
all
that
the
might
things.
be something that we can get some information at DEMA. You know,
Hmm.
at least get an idea what their material is and what they teach.
Well, I did actually reach out to a NOWI trainer in Panama City who we've worked with. And that is he's with Neptune Charter Group, and he is a NOWI instructor trainer. And I did reach out to him, and he said that the materials are excellent and that he really enjoys being a NOWI instructor. So if we do pursue the NOWI route, he would be our person. You know, I would probably do a crossover to at least instructor trainer level so that I could then certify instructors.
Another thing we'd have to look at is the cost of transferring over to them. That,
Yeah.
that might be a huge cost for,
I don't think it's going to be a huge cost with crossover. Normally with crossover, it's not like if you're already an instructor, it's not that hard to cross over. What about you, Victor? With IDEA, what was the cost there? Did you have to start over or was it just a crossover?
No,
Yeah.
no, it was a crossover,
Yeah.
and I did it in Dima 3 years ago,
Hmm.
and it was free actually. They
See?
have they have a special um like just for Dima, special offer just for Dima if you wanted to cross over, and that's exactly what I did it. And I really enjoy to have the possibility to offer both because IDEA has this complete online lecture process. So for some people that really works best than coming to the lectures in person or through Zoom. But then the only part that is missing in their training materials is dive planning using the air tables.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that I complement after I meet with the students. I go debrief the most important issues. I go like through the physics and physiology, and then dive planning using air
Hmm.
tables.
Are their materials costs higher, Victor?
I think it's like 50 now. I think there was an increase, but
Yeah.
it's under $70.
Okay.
so do they teach dive computers instead of dive tables?
They don't really do an adequate job with planning.
Y-
That's how Patty
Yeah,
gets
exactly.
taught. It's terrible. So, but you
Yeah,
can always teach above the standards.
True, but
And so I personally, there are some things that I think old school is good. I think you've got to keep teaching dive tables. And
me too.
and now SEI does have online learning. Uh,
Yeah, I remember that's a new
but let me
option as
just
well.
say, I have a strong feeling about online learning. I have actually produced, developed online learning for most of my life. I have been a producer of online learning, and I did ask when they were starting to produce it, hey, let me take a look, but they did their own thing. When I was at West Point, they did this to they made cadets purchase something like, because they can do that. They forced them to purchase technology and didn't have the instructors with the same technology. And so the technology was not used. by the cadets. They ended up like selling them on eBay and things because the instructors weren't using them. Um, and so when I came in, I started using them, and I said the first thing you need to do is make sure that all the instructors have access to the same technology, or there's no way that you can teach it. So one thing about SEI is they should have granted us access to at least preview the course to see what we think. Now, in talking with other people who have accessed it, what I've heard is that it's just somebody reading a PowerPoint slide. And, that to me is not sufficient. I would rather have them watch a lecture, either a recording of a lecture or a live lecture where they can ask questions. If they don't have a lot of time, a recorded session where we're sharing stories and they're hearing different voices and it's more engaging. I don't think that e-learning should be passive. It shouldn't be, reading slides. But that's what I've heard. And so,
Yeah, usually you will prefer to have a mixture in the learning method, so it stays engaging the student.
mhm,
If we go through the DAM learning
it's excellent.
for O2, so
Mhm.
you have to do some readings, and then you
Right,
have to see a video, and then you have a short quiz. Okay,
right.
that way it keeps things rolling and keeps you engaged. If it's like flat, just a PowerPoint reading, and then you move on to the next, usually you keep nothing from there.
Yeah, exactly. So, ah, so yeah, I just can't see paying to look at a course that I've been told is very passive. And so that's what it is with SEI. You have to pay, and it's not a lot, but it's like even if it's only $100, I'm not going to waste $100 looking at something that I'm going to decide is not good for my students, you know. I tell them they have the option. When people tell me they're in a hurry, I tell them they have the option. And so far, everybody prefers, if not to attend the live lecture, to then to watch a recording of the live lecture. And I personally think like our team is awesome. And I love the different perspectives and the different stories and experiences that people have, the diversity of our team. It's to me, it makes it fascinating. It just shows people we're teaching that no matter who they are, they can achieve. No matter who they are, they can succeed. No matter who they are, they're welcome with our group. And I think that it gives a lot of confidence and, the students have in us. So that when we meet them in person, they're really excited to be part of it. And what I've seen more than anything is just a lot of gratitude from the students. They know we're all volunteers. They know we care. They know we care. They know we none of us do this for a living, that it's our passion and we want to share our passion and make sure that they're safe, lifelong divers. And I think that's what sets us apart. Um, so, Josh, you just came back online. Did you see my text message by any chance?
I did. Okay, so I don't think increasing cost matters as much as consistency. I think Monica brought up the point of like, okay, we got to check their age, blah, blah, blah. And I can put this in an email, but the reality is the person should be, I mean, I think 14 is too young for junior diver. It should be like 12 to 15, but it should be like if this person is not 16 years old by January 1st of the year in which they're taking this training, they should be considered a junior diver. Because the first indications from reading this article about the fatality, there was so much discretion for the diving instructors, and a bad diving instructor is going to push that discretion, much like Victor was talking about visibility and scout, talking about the line. So I think less about increasing the cost and more about getting clear, consistent rules on a couple of these things is what you want. Because the reality is, if you can build a junior diver, right, that's a diver for life. And what we don't want to do is make it look like we are, you know, overreacting too far. And I get Ronnie's point of the ratio of instructor to diver impacts how many we can put through, but perhaps that means twice a year is when we do our junior diver or classes with junior divers, and we just can't take junior divers for every class every year, you know? I
So,
mean,
so let me just stop you
those
for,
are thoughts.
so Josh, all agencies have junior divers up to age 14. At 15, they're considered adults. Every single agency has it that way and has for a long time. The only agency that I'm aware of that teaches 10-year-olds is Patty for junior. So Patty is ages 10 to 14. All the other agencies are ages 12 to 14. Um, we can't not take people like we have families sign up. We have a lot of families sign up. We have parents and their children sign up. And so we can't say, like I've had, well, even with Girl Scouts, right, Monica? I might have, a couple moms and their kids, and we can't say you're not offering the class to junior divers right now. You'll have to take it later. It just doesn't, scuba doesn't work that way. It's normally people who want to sign up together. So then it becomes the question of, Monica suggested, is it possible to charge more since we have to have more people there to accommodate the ratios? So, for example, if we're going on a dive boat and we have three junior divers, we've got to have, three, or we have to have, was it two or three? I can't remember now.
Two, I think.
Two, but if yeah, but we need to have three leaders, and so then the costs are going to go up for us. So the question is, can you set a different price for junior open water certification versus open water when they're getting the exact same thing?
Well, I don't think that there's any legal impediment to it. It's a logistics thing. And I mean, like you're saying, it's so course dependent. You may only have one junior diver in this class as opposed to three, and you wouldn't need to increase the cost. So I think it really becomes a game time call, just giving people the heads up. I think that's your better course of action. I mean,
I don't think people are going to go for it if I say, like the registration form says that it's $480.
mhm.
And I'm like, actually, we had three junior divers sign up, so I need to increase your prices. I don't think that's going to fly at all in this
I
industry.
yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, I don't think a legal standpoint it's an issue. I think you just turn it into a game time decision of, hey guys, we've got three folks going out on this. You know, there's going to be additional costs. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but legally, there's no prohibition of doing that. You can always charge different rates for students based on the logistics cost or whatever. But
Okay, I got an idea for you, Gabrielle. When we get together with Jim down at NEMA, I think we should say, since your standards have changed, I've got to get a bunch more instructors out of my dive master. You need to give us a break. If I get five more dive masters that become instructors, I need a break on the cost of getting those five done so I can still teach the same amount of people that I taught last year.
Yeah, they won't do that. I'm just telling you that the prices for that has gone up as well. I was telling Monica and Skylar when I processed their Dive Master cards that it was $195. And a year ago, I think it was $100. It's $195 now, just to pay to SEI to have a dive master. So,
one point, even if everybody is 14 and under, I think you might want to ask them to say that should be either at the first if they're not 15 by the start of the year, then they're considered a junior diver, or that age is based on the first day that they start the class, to where those standards stay the same throughout the training. So that if you're 14, but then you turn 15 in the middle of the class, well, we're still going to treat you as a junior diver throughout the duration of this until you're certified. Something like that.
I don't really think that's a big factor. We don't have a lot of people um, who have their birthdays. Monica's daughter had her birthday, but not we don't normally have a lot of. That's really not a big factor.
Well, it's not about if it's a factor, it's a factor of are there going to be instructors who are looking to push the limits because then they get away from the diver ratio in the class. I mean, I think that's what you have to look at. The reality is this Texas situation is divers instructors pushing the limits of discretion. And so now you're making new rules in place. And again, I just think if they're going to say junior diver, there should either be that person's age at the beginning of the year or that person's age at the beginning of the class. They're considered a junior diver throughout the training or instruction. Just a thought.
So in the
I
group
mean,
chat
the
with regional,
other way is, you know, some of the expenses, especially is like a big portion of the expense is going to be diving in Panama City, right? Like
yeah,
doing a boat dive
boat
because
dives, any boat dives, yeah.
so you have to take less people. So I don't know if that's the place where you add a supplement cost to junior dive. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
exactly what the answer is, but
Yeah.
that's a big, or you get away from doing boat dives and you do all the checkout dives and springs, and then maybe as a courtesy, we offer a potential boat dive after they're certified, so you don't have to meet those ratios, just as a fun dive. That might be another
Mhm.
way to get around some of
Not a bad
those.
idea to do everything in the springs and then,
Because, that's what I'm kind of thinking with, the Girl Scouts, right? And the weather precluded us from doing the boat dive. So it'd be really nice to get us all back together to go do that boat dive we never did, right? But now we're all
right. Now they're
certified.
all certified, so it's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a shame because then, like, in the summer, I love to be in the Gulf.
yeah.
I'd love to be in the Gulf. And I also like to give people the experience of what they're primarily going to be doing.
Oh, I think it's
But,
really important as part of the
yeah.
training, but
And then not to freeze to death in the
yeah.
springs. Just saying.
But maybe you frame the courses a little bit differently, and then additionally, after you're certified, we highly, I don't know if you can even say expect, but
Mhm.
to do a boat dive as a
Oh,
certified.
I always say that anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say that anyway. Even like in the wintertime, we don't go in the Gulf. And I always tell people, don't worry, when the waters warm up, we always have diving planned and you can come diving with us
Yeah.
anytime and get dive experience in a different environment. So,
So that might be a kind of strategy to kind of help mitigate some of the costs.
yeah. Oh. Any other thoughts on this, guys? It was freezing. I think I just came back from Cleveland and it was really cold, and I feel like I brought the cold weather back with me. So I've been sitting here bundled up, and now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm warm. Uh, well, any other thoughts on this? In the regional managers chat just now, after I, posed the question, several other of the managers started talking about different things. Um, for example, somebody said they've been downsizing their groups. They take in the water with low vis or conditions that makes supervisions difficult, and they didn't need someone to tell us or put it into writing because it should be common sense practice. And then another manager said, very true, but if we don't take the lead, bureaucrats will as an industry. And then another one said, common sense isn't common anymore. And then, and this is a big one, I think he was supervising from the shore and was not even in the water. The other instructor there said that the guy was bone dry and supposedly just came out of the water. And I had heard that he was bone dry too. But is it possible this guy wasn't even in the water with the students? And then the same person who said that he thinks that the instructor was supervising from the shore, mentioned the dry suit incident. He said, just like with Linnea Mills, the instructor didn't do anything and told everyone to leave. And then he said, everyone knows who Patty is, and that's what they ask for when they call, but Patty's not doing a very good job with their instructors. I think that they are to a point that they are too big and can't keep tabs or verify quality of training. That's interesting. So is he saying that this was a Patty instructor? Do we know? Is this instructor possibly a Patty instructor?
Check that out.
I looked it up and it said it was Nowie, a Nowie instructor, but maybe people don't know for sure, or maybe this person was just assuming they were Patty.
I'm going to type to the group and ask them.
So maybe, right, this sort of comes back to play sort of what we learned as dive masters is direct versus indirect supervision. So if this was one of their last checkout dives, maybe indirect supervision was how.
I don't know, Monica, because for me, I, I'm always going to be in the water with the
Yeah,
students,
but
no matter
that's
what. Okay, he was Nowie. He was Nowie.
yeah. I mean, but this is part of the cascade of events.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it's really rare. So
It
because
is
now
rare.
standards are really, really high.
Nowie
To
has great
become a now
standards.
instructor
Yeah,
is not easy.
yeah. And so to me, this was just a bad instructor.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
just a bad
It's not
instructor.
about the agency. It's definitely
Right.
about the person. Yeah.
Right. If you look at all the reports in the industry, 99% of fatalities during scuba diving is PADI.
Hmm.
If you look at fatalities and accidents and incidents during training dives, 99% are PADI. Truly. Um, they have a history of having low standards and pushing their instructors to produce. Now, that doesn't mean that every PADI instructor is bad. As a matter of fact, we know a great one, and that's Kelly with Big Blue Dive Boat. But he's also a tech instructor with really, really good, reputable organizations as well. So it is really about the way you're taught and the way that you never become complacent. You can never take your role for granted. If you're supervising people, you're responsible for their lives. And, if an incident happens, you need to react to it in a way that hopefully is going to make sure that everyone's going to be all right. Um, yeah.
But here's a stat I just read. Fatalities from scuba diving are lower than fatalities from horseback riding.
True. Yeah, I mean, just because we're hearing of fatalities doesn't mean it happens all the time. But if you look at the history of scuba, especially, as the numbers have increased for people being certified, the lowest standards in the industry are PADI, without fail. They have had more fatalities on their try-a-dive things than any other agency, where it's like Discover Scuba, which I don't
Mhm.
even do, unless it's in a pool with, with people with disabilities or something. But they really push their instructors to produce, and I think that creates a culture of wanting to rush people through things, which is never good for safety. All right, so we have a couple of options, and I think we should pursue the potential of getting cross certification. I think that a great opportunity to do that will be at DEMA, just to look at what other agencies may be a possibility, SSI, NOWI, or others. And I see someone sneaking around the background. Hi. Uh, is that your wife, Victor? Yeah,
Yeah, it was my wife.
that's funny. Um, so yeah, so I think that's an option. I like the idea of maybe, I hate actually don't like the idea of not doing as many ocean dives, but maybe if we have junior divers, that's the best solution is and then not even just junior divers, because again, we've got to have fantastic visibility. And so there's no guarantees if you're going out on a boat, are you really going to have 30 feet of visibility? Are you really going to have 30 feet of, do you know? I mean, it could have been 50 feet 6 hours earlier, and you go and it's dropped to 25, and now you can't dive?
And how do you even measure visibility that
Yeah.
accurately?
Well, I think you round up if it's 25. Let's call it 30. I mean, I'm super safe, but I also think we need to be reasonable about things. And I don't really like reacting to something in a way that changes what we do. I think we have a history of being very, very safe. The whole organization has high standards, has always had high standards. So now the standards are, hi, Alex, Alexandra. See, everyone, put your wives in the video. So, and Ronnie and I all, and you, Erica has her children. Ronnie and I have our pets. Um, all right. Well, I think we've talked this out as much as we can tonight. And I really appreciated everyone being here. So, any final thoughts before we call it a day?
I guess this class you're doing now, right? This impacts this class.
It
So
does impact this
do you
class.
have
And
any
now I know I have at least one junior in this class. And so, yeah, it affects everything. I need to go back. I hope there's not two junior students in this class. I think it's just one, but I'm gonna have to check because that will play a role in everything. Like if nobody's gonna help me at the pool, what am I gonna do? You know?
To make, do you want me to just kind of hold with what we're as far as Tuesday and giving, I'm gonna send you itinerary once I've got that set for you to look at and approve. And then also there's a cost sheet. There's two forms for that. But as far as numbers, do we need to like try to pull that back or?
Well, do you know their ages? And this is in March, right?
Yeah, I don't know that all of their ages at this time. No, I don't.
I
is
would
this
say
for
go
an
ahead and
open water class? What is this school group?
yeah.
Yeah, this is a Sale High School does an intensive week and you get to choose your own guided learning and something that you're interested in. And so people go to New York all over, like they go travel and stuff like that. And they asked if we would do a diving intensive this year. And so we had 15 students who are actively signed up. They said they could pass off another five who preferred this, but wanted to make sure that that was okay before they did that. And I said, hold it at 15 for the moment until, I have more information. And then we would go from there. But I don't know if we want to, I don't know how to roll with that. And we still haven't gotten feedback from district yet. They said that they were going to tell us this week, and now Sarah was in contact with them, and they said we'll tell you next week. And I'm just like, in the meantime, I'm needing to meet with these students and give them, information and all the things in preparation. And yeah, the district is. I wish that they would hurry up a little bit, but.
Yeah.
Is the plan over spring break or during the weekday, like when they're at school and or on weekends? Just wondering like how.
Yeah, it takes place the week before spring break, so it's the 9th through the 4th, 13th, the 9th through the 13th. Um, and it's roughly during school hours. The idea is that they can be dropped off at school or at like the place of wherever the learning is taking place, and then um, be mostly done when school's over. That's for like our local ones, but again, like some places go to like New York, Canada, all over the place, and so there's flexibility in it. There's just a lot of like with those kind of things when we're going outside of school hours, there's more preparation that needs to be done on my part. And so that's why I'm hoping that district gets back really soon and I can go ahead, and I don't want to put a ton of work and effort into like organizing and all of that if you know um they decide, which we've let them know, just given all your credentials, Gabrielle, and you
Yeah.
know, Sarah's been advocating that in Key West, students are doing this as a part of their regular curriculum, and she's been a really great advocate for us. So I'm really hoping that they're going to come back and give it the stamp of approval very soon, but still waiting.
I would say if you could go ahead and get their date of birth so that we'll know what age they will be at the start.
Okay.
Um, and then, worst case scenario, we could divide them into two and have two pool days. We could combine like a pool day and a lecture, a pool day and a lecture.
Oh,
Uh, right? We could do that. So like Monday, Tuesday could be, you know, a pool day and a lecture or a
okay.
lecture and pool, whatever.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So I think we can manage it. And then with checkout dives, we could divide them again and, hopefully we get a couple of instructors there and split the group and, maybe even do two sets of two, whatever. We can figure it out. Especially with the springs, we can figure it out. It's different on boats. So,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Sounds good. I'll start trying to throw that itinerary together and then I'll send it over to you.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll do that as well, and then just make sure that everything looks right to you.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Yeah, I mean, I want to keep working with kids. I really do. Um, all of us, I think, have a passion for working with kids, and we want to make sure we can accommodate that. So, yeah, I just for me, I need to really think about the pricing too, because already with 480 per student, we're barely covering costs. Um, those of us who are instructors know all the insurance rates have gone way up. When you have your own gear that you're letting people borrow, you pay an extra like $600 per year just for that privilege. And and so it ends up costing a lot of money. And then the equipment costs truly, it's a lot. The annual visual inspections and the hydros and the all that. It just adds up. Repairs, lots of repairs. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Bill while we're here, because you all know that I lost my third camera in a year. And Bill found an anonymous donor who sent me one version ago of the same camera, the same housing, and accessories. And that saved me another $1,000. So thank you, Bill, very much. Yay. And I want to give a shout out to Monica, who helped me in the pool with JR. JR Harding. He is on our board and he is a scuba diver with quadriplegia. And I think Monica can share her thoughts on what happened. But Erica, you worked with me in the past with JR, right? Have you? No, you haven't. Okay. So he is a big fan of ours and he is amazing. He's a professor at FSU also. And it had been a while. He had several pressure sores, which are pretty common for people in wheelchairs to get pressure sores, especially with quadriplegia. They tend to get a lot and they can be life-threatening. So he was out of the water for longer than usual, and it took him a while to kind of relax in the water. But once he did, it was awesome. It was awesome.
It
And
was amazing. I mean, first of all, they're just, him and his wife are just beautiful people. They're just really kind, and he was just a pleasure to talk to. But just to see him in the water once he was always comfortable, but you could see that moment when he was just able to sort of like relax his breathing, right? Just like we teach the students, and basically just sit on the bottom with support, and then he could work to skills with mass clearing. And I personally was just amazed that he had that much functionality. And then Gabrielle helped him swim underwater and sort of a physical therapy aspect. And it was just amazing. I was so inspired by him. It was great.
it's awesome. And he had nothing but great things to say about Monica and me being there. And they really are just such giving people. So they had set up a little table with snacks for us and a thank you card and, little candles. And yeah, they're just, Erica is his wife's name, and Erica and JR, they're just lovely people. So Monica, I think you got an opportunity to see what inspired me to get started in all this to begin with. I saw a need. And physical therapy, truly, it's physical and emotional therapy. When people can't move their bodies, with quadriplegia, the amount of movement is very, very limited. But he was, moving his arms, and he got a good workout. He told me he slept great every time after.
Mhm.
He sleeps great. He feels good. It's awesome. It's the best workout. So,
Yeah, I was happy to be a part of it.
yeah.
The first of many times.
I know we will do it again, and I want to give a big shout out to Ronnie for all that he's done. He's actually been working with a student with paraplegia on swimming skills so that he'll be able to continue with scuba lessons. He has a scholarship. His name's Stanley, and Ronnie's been working with him in the pool. Um, And I just want to say, thank you, Ronnie, for all you're doing. And Victor, big thank you to you for coming to the search and recovery and helping with so many aspects of it. And you and I are going to be there on November 3rd, right? Doing the search.
Yeah. For
Yes.
now, yes. I
Yeah,
haven't
so now
imagined.
I'm working to try to find some more people who can help us. So it's not just us. So I've been traveling, but I'm going to focus on that tonight and tomorrow and make sure we get some more people. So, so yeah, everybody here, thank you, thank you. Erica taking the time to come, and I think that we all had such a good time. Erica, Skylar, Monica, working on skills, and it was great. I want to give a shout out to Josh too, because he drove the weekend before last, and we had the class. He drove like 8 hours down here to take the class, and he did excellent at the diver rescue and accident management, and then drove back up immediately after. So
That's why you got to hit your macros. You never know when you're gonna have to drive.
inside joke there. Uh,
It's funny.
I know he is funny. So, but thank you to all of you for being part of the team. And our next session is next week. But we also have a pool session that day. So there's a lot of busyness that's about to happen. We have a lecture tomorrow. As far as I know, it's just Ronnie's the only one who's able to help teach tomorrow. Josh, are you able to help? I don't remember if you said you could. All right. So we'll be back here at 8 p.m. next week. So 1 week from today. And in the meantime, we've got a pool session on the 1st. We've got search and recovery of the crime scene on the 3rd. We've got a pool session on the 4th. And a lot more coming up. So
Well, and a shout out to you for keeping us all together and organizing all these wonderful opportunities for us.
thank you so much. And I really do want to plan more diving in November to plan more diving. So what I'll do is wait to see what happens tomorrow in the lecture in terms of what dates they schedule. And then I would really love for us to plan some fun diving, maybe in the Gulf again, just some fun diving where we can enjoy ourselves and not be responsible for people's lives.
USS United States.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I personally know Alex Falk, who is the
Yeah.
coordinator of the deployment of that. I have his personal cell phone number, and I told him the last time we talked that I was definitely going to call him to get some privileged information on the day. So they're going to disclose. I think their plan is to actually disclose the plan for the deployment during DEMA. And supposedly in November is when they're going to do the deployment. I'm not completely sure if that's going to be by the end of November, but let's see what he says. Maybe he just said, like, you will need to wait until DEMA. So,
I've been following that for a while now, so I'm excited about that one.
Sure.
yeah.
It's
So once
always
we have
fun.
a date, it's easier to start
It's
planning.
always fun to do a site soon after it's sunk and then to go back to that site and watch how quickly it changes and evolves and the life happens on it. And I know Victor gets to do that a lot with his deployment of artificial reefs in Taylor County. But if you've never seen a shipwreck sunk before and done it, it's awesome. Because you can say, like, I dived it on the first day that it was, available to dive. And every 6 months I go back and I've just seen the changes. It's cool.
Yeah. I know the protocol is going to be they're going to have a buffer zone around the ship before it's sunk. I think it's like 1,000 feet away or a little bit more away from the vessel. So, and once it's completely sunk, a team from the Coast Guard and the Walton County, they're gonna go down and do an inspection. And then once they come up and they clear, then everybody else can just go and dive.
That's great. I did
Yeah.
want to let you know that Kelly with Big Blue Dive Boat told me that they are planning on having two locations, one in Panama City and one in Walton County, in order to reach the other sites more. And so that's their plan is to they're going to be changing, not just operating out of Panama City.
That's good.
Yeah, we love them. Also love Neptune. Neptune's doing great too. So, all right. Well, lots of good things coming up. And so maybe by next week we can talk a little bit more. By the way, in the regional chat, all the guys there, I'm the only female in the regional managers in the world. And they're all just going on and on about, Patty right now. And they were talking about Nowie. One of them said, wow, you mean the same Nowie that dropped out of RSTC because they said their standards already exceed RSTC? Well, guess that didn't backfire on them. And then they were talking about how this could happen in any agency when you have a complacent instructor. So,
Hmm.
How many regional managers are there? Just out of curiosity.
um, that's a good question. It has changed. I want to say there's 8 of us in the world with SCI.
Yeah, so that's good enough. I just wanted a rough.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like 8 or 80 or 800.
No, it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. It might even be less than that, actually. Let's see how many are in our. Yeah, I think it's 8. I think it's 8. So, all right, guys. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna go pick up my dogs. I saw Skylar's cute dog and I don't know if you got to see that. Ronnie always has the cute dog and the cute kitty. But I have missed my dogs, and so I'm gonna drive over and get them now. So thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Night.
night.